Hey everybody, this is Miss Florida Hot Picks here. Have you ever just wanted to find a really simple, easy to go to strategy to find your hottest pick three numbers? Well, if you have, I have something for you, okay? And this is not a new strategy by any means. I've actually had videos on this a couple years back talking about key boxes, especially if you're using the 1, 2, 3 rundown. So let me show you a few places that you may want to pay attention to, some hot particular areas, so we can see if you guys can land in some really hot hits. Okay, so we're going to start with our example from South Carolina, January 17th evening. The hit was 951. So what I've done is I've put a rundown together. The goal here is to see if there are some patterns that we could pick up to give us some potential hot numbers, right? And you have to be able to backtrack your state, meaning you have to have day to day what's going on for your midday game in South Carolina, what's going on for evening, okay? Make sure you have that. The next thing I want you to do, guys, is make sure that you put together your rundown properly. You have to count it out. A lot of questions, especially a lot of the newbies coming to the channel and into the membership, is this sort of how do you count out the rundowns? They're very simple. Once you lock in the last hit, which we're using 951, you're simply going to add each of these numbers down the columns. So for that first column, you're going to add 1 all the way down. So 1 plus 9 is 10. When you get to your 2-digit numbers, only use your ones place, your 0. 0 plus 1 is 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. 2 plus 1 is 3. 3 plus 1 is 4. 4 plus 1 is 5. 5 plus 1 is 6. 6 plus 1 is 7. 7 plus 1 is 8. 8 plus 1 is 9. So you know you did it right. The number you start with will be the number you end with, okay? Then we would add 2 all the way down that second column, 3 all the way down the third column. Now, I like to use a 317 rundown for a lot of the states, but South Carolina is also good with the 1, 2, 3. So being that the key boxes are really doing something and they're picking back up like never before, definitely want to share with you just a couple of simple areas and simple ways that you just may want to look at the rundown. Okay, the first thing I need you to do is go to the right side or the last 2 columns. Okay, I want you guys to identify what we call a key box. Okay, a key box for the 1, 2, 3 is when you see doubles and mirrors crossing each other. Okay, let's talk about mirror numbers for example, because if you don't know what mirror numbers are, you'll probably not even realize that that was the box itself. So the 4 and 9, for instance, they're actually the same number. They're opposite of each other. Okay, so 9 and 4, they're interchangeable. These are the list of the other mirror numbers. Make sure you jot them down. If you're new, you need to know what they are, because in order to identify your key boxes, you got to know what mirrors are as well. So a 0 could be a 5, or 5 could be a 0. 1 could be a 6, 6 could be a 1. 2 could be a 7, 7 could be a 2. 3 could be an 8, 8 could be a 3. 4 could be a 9, and a 9 could be a 4. Okay, the first thing you want to do once you identify that that's the key box is simply just make a little box around it. Okay, you will also have another set with the rundown. The 951, for instance, after a certain point, they're all mirrors. They become mirrors. That 951 is mirrored to a 456. You see that? That 074 is going to change to a 579. So you're going to notice right here, you're going to see your doubles. They turned into a 99. And remember with those 77s, they're turning into a 72. Okay. Just going to box those around. Okay. All right. So one thing I noticed, to give you a hot tip, and because I work off of triples. Anybody sees a lot of my workout videos, I love working with triples and false triples. Okay, so you got your triple 3 and you got your false trip 838. Why we call that a false trip? Because they have mirror numbers in there. That 3 and 8, same number, they're just interchangeable. Something you guys in South Carolina may want to note is when there's some type of triples in the rundown, there could be a chance that the numbers may come straight across in any of those boxes. Could. Sometimes you have to mirror, and there's instances when you'll have to do that. But I just want to show you something very simple to get you guys started in case you haven't looked at the key boxes in a while. Okay, so here, I'm just going to look directly in the boxes. I see the number 579. I would just write that down as is. I also see a 692. Okay. If you're looking here, I see a 074 and a 197. Okay. I like strategies and patterns, excuse me, that typically when you see them, you can identify them very closely, especially when you notice that there's hits going straight across the rundown. They don't happen every day, I'm going to warn you, but there will be other patterns to form around those key boxes. So pay attention to what your state is doing. You'll start finding out some really cool hits will come around those areas. So what actually came around this hit was 692. Where was it? It was in our key box area, right? Going straight across. 692. Okay. My thing is, even when I'm using the 317 rundowns, I always like to look at strategies that have numbers that go straight across if possible. Sometimes they're diagonal. That may help, especially when they're running along a triple or false triple. That's kind of my eye opener. And the reason for that is I hate being one off. But if you have numbers that go straight across, that is very helpful. But here's the kicker. This 692 was also going this way. Pay attention to that. This thing hit two ways, okay? So I want you to pay attention. The next thing was this thing went evening to evening, but you have to be careful. I've seen it when it didn't do that, and I'm going to show you the next example, okay? But I want you to see this first. Not a bad little turnaround, especially when you notice there's triples and false triples. That could be an indicator that something, a hit, is coming straight across. That is the main thing. And I look for that even when I'm putting my prediction list together here in the membership. I'm looking for things that go straight across, where we're not playing around and trying to figure out which one. And I'm not saying it's perfect, but at least it'll give you a good start on how to look at your patterns. Very simple, turnkey, right? Using those key boxes. Love it. All right. Let me go ahead to the next example. Okay. All right. So here we have January 21st evening. There was a hit of 880. Okay. Now, the first thing we have to do is go to the right side. We have to look for those key boxes. I'm going to find where the doubles and mirrors are crossing. I have an 8850 and I have an 8300 right here on top. Okay. All right. Now, you don't see triples going across, but I want to share something with you. There's triples that are going this way, diagonal, outside this box. Very important. Triples can lead to some really hot patterns. So when I saw this, I noticed there was a hit that came straight across the grid. So watch this. So if you're seeing this, because they won't be like this all the time, your options could be at 880, maybe that could be a repeat number in a different order. 903, 385, and 408 as a mirror. What came out exact? 903. And notice the triple is connected to it. Okay? Excuse me, guys. So, what am I telling you guys? Pay attention to your key box areas. Sometimes numbers will come straight across. Now, that 903 could also be mirrored to an 890. I noticed that, so pay close attention. Sometimes that's the giveaway, is if you're able to mirror it in another direction, that could be it too. So pay attention, okay? Cannot tell you that. But real quick, real simple, it doesn't have to be hard. You will find other patterns. Just study. Okay, South Carolina, I hope that's helpful. And I will see you guys on the next video.